Boy, have we got some stuff to talk about today. Oh my goodness. My. Come on now. Come on. There we go. All right, close enough. Close enough. My. We have some stuff to talk about tonight. Holy shit. Wow. Just when you think the world's on fire, you realize, no, it's just getting started. Yeah, it's getting really crazy. I mean, this is kind of shit that I never imagined this in my entire life. I mean, I've been around for a few years now. As you might imagine, I am over 21, and wow, holy smoke! By the way, if you like my main streams or my live streams, go ahead and hit the like button because it helps get it out to the algorithm. And this is something I want a lot of people to see. I want a lot of people to be talking about this by tomorrow because this is something that I never thought I'd see in my entire life. I just cannot believe that I'm seeing this. See, this is a problem with doing homework. Sometimes the homework takes me away from economics and it drives me towards other things which will affect economics. And then I get to a point where I've dug so deep that I go, holy shit, this can't be true. But guess what? What I'm about to talk about is true. Now, for those of you who are not complete idiots, you're going to say, no, this can't be true. What you're telling me can't be right. It's right. I have the receipts. I did the homework. And this is absolutely ape shit. This is nuts. Okay, so I was going to talk about interest rates going up in spite of the rate cut and the fact that home loans are getting more expensive. Car loans went up. Everything went up. And on here lying again. I haven't even said anything. You are either an idiot or a bot or an idiot bot. It proves AI is not that bright. So here's what I'm going to talk about. And for those of you who think I'm lying, do your own research. Like I always say, you can verify that everything I'm about to say is true. So somebody yesterday came on my live stream and said, hey, man, I heard that use of deadly force was authorized by the military on American civilians. And I just laughed because I'm a former Marine. I understand that that is totally, completely against the Posse Comitatus Act of 1878, which removed the military from regular civilian law enforcement, was enacted in response to the abuses resulting from the extensive use of the Army in the civil law enforcement during the Civil War and the Reconstruction. Okay, well, Posse Comitatus Act. So when I heard that, I obviously thought it was nuts. Vote sanity, not Trump's life of, oh my God, idiots already jumping all over the live stream. All right, well, listen to this, idiot, when you talk about how Trump's the insane one. The DOD just authorized the use of deadly force against American civilians, and I have it right here. It is actually DOD Directive 5240.01, and I've been perusing it. It was reestablished as of September 27th, 2024, so just last month, and it authorizes the use of lethality against American civilians in several different cases. This is absolutely nuts. And by the way, these people can be called, the DOD can now respond to local and state law enforcement if they decide that they need the military to come in and shoot you up because you're just talking too much or whatever the case is. If they feel that there is a threat, they can bring in the Army, the Marine Corps, whatever. And I just don't see how that ends well. I can tell you this. If you're sending the Marine Corps to Texas, you're going to have a serious problem because a lot of Marines are from Texas. It's just, I don't understand why they would do something like this right before the election, because obviously this has nothing to do with Trump. Trump's not the president, but the president of the United States obviously could have stopped this from happening, but chose not to. They didn't. You're an idiot. None of your business. I'm reading from the DOD document, you dumb bastard. Jesus. DOD Directive 5240.01. Go to the DOD website and look it up yourself, or just type in, and I'll give it to you once again because you're obviously slow. Let's see. It's DOD Directive 5240.01. What do you have to say, Mr. None of the above, dumbass? Well, let's see. Are they worried? Well, if they are, you have to understand that just today, the chief of the Capitol Police testified and said that basically everything that was said about him was a lie, that he was in contact directly with the Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, and she said that she never spoke to him. That was a lie. And, he proved it. He showed all the times he talked to her. He said, look up the cell phone records. This is, it's incontrovertible. This man did exactly what he said. And when he was suggesting that they bring in the National Guard days ahead of time, they said that the optics of that did not look good. So they declined. Talking shit to people. No, what I like to do is I like to be rude to idiots who won't do their homework and say things that are absurd. Bully. I think that's an appropriate name for you. You are rude and spread disinformation. Please stop. Oh, the bots are going nuts now. I must have yanked on the soy boy's ponytail or something, because this is hilarious. Stop spreading disinformation. Okay, so when you go to the DOD's website, is that disinformation? Because that's what I'm reading from right now. Think about that. You can go read from it too, but you won't because you have swallowed the Kool-Aid. I know. Unfortunately, nothing surprises me. Let's see. No, you are not me. Everything you say bounces off me and sticks to you. Bully, come on, man. Get back in your closet. So the Posse Comitatus Act says that you can't use military for civilian law enforcement, and yet here we are. Why would I read 2025? Who gives a fuck about 2025? I mean, Trump's already said 30 times. He didn't read it. He has no connection to it. I don't care about it. Did I read the WEF's Project 2030, where they're going to own everything and we'll own nothing? No, I didn't read that either. These are stupid things I don't waste my time on. Doing a great job. Don't pay any attention. Oh, by the way, Glenda, you got censored for saying that. Is that crazy? You said I was correct. Oh, that didn't come across the right way then. Okay. Yeah, you got censored for saying don't pay attention to them. It's crazy what the algorithms censor now. And the only reason I read these censored ones out loud is because I think censorship is bullshit. Now, I did watch today, and it was on Joe Rogan also today, Kamala Harris talking about how millions of people go on these social media networks, and they can say anything they want, and that has to be regulated. What? You're going to regulate free speech? That's our First Amendment. But she said that it is a privilege. Now, I want you folks to just let that sink in. It's a privilege to be able to speak your mind, not a God-given right like it says in the Magna Carta or the Constitution of the United States or the Constitution of several other countries. No. It's a privilege given to you by the government, and they can take it away from you. Play God much? She will walk in and take our guns. Well, that's a fact. But she has one herself, and she said if anybody ever breaks into her house, they're going to get shot. She said that on Oprah. That's not misinformation. No, they can't what? Look at these guys' past videos. Always wrong. This guy's past videos. Yeah, look at my past videos. Look at the one where when they said there was no inflation, I said that there was absolutely inflation. When they said it was transitory in 2021, I said, no, it's not transitory. It's permanent, and it's going to be ugly. Yeah, go back and look at my videos. None of your business, dipshit. Go back and look at my videos. That's why people listen to me, because I've been saying that the shit's gonna hit the fan for 2.5 years now. And the reason I said it was because I understand econ really well. And I knew that by dumping tons and tons of money into the economy in the form of stimmies and shutting down the economy simultaneously, it was going to do two things. It was going to kill businesses, which, by the way, in 2008 reached a high of 512 corporate bankruptcies. It's 508 in 2008, and it's 512 so far this year. So we're actually doing worse than we were at the height of COVID, which I predicted in my videos. What's the inflation rate right now? Core inflation, the only one that matters. Core inflation is now 3.4%. That is if you adjust it the way that the Fed adjusts it. If you don't adjust it and manipulate it and take out things that we need, then it's about 7 or 8%. And the reason I say that is it's obvious. Look, let's start with the obvious ones. Bread, eggs, meat, cheese, milk. Let's go on. Gasoline, rent, mortgages, cars. Back in what was it? I want to say 2000. The average car payment was $400. Now the average car payment. Oh, excuse me. I'm gonna have to look that up. Average car payment. Let me see. Average car payment, 2008. It might have been 2008. Let's see. Because now, oh my God, that's absolutely insane. For a new car, the average car payment is $738. No, I don't cherry pick the stats. That's the whole point. I'm giving you all the stats. They cherry pick the stats. That's the problem. When you say that consumer price index, the CPI, is everything that you need for a consumer except food, fuel, and housing. Food, fuel, and housing. You take those three components out, and that's how you figure out inflation. What the fuck is that? That's insane. Those are three things that every single person in the United States needs, but they take those three things out. Why? Why would you do that? Because you're manipulating. That's why used cars are so expensive now. By the way, they censored that comment. It didn't show up. Yep, you need a lot of money. And by the way, if you put $4,000 down on a Hyundai, you're going to have $800 a month payments. I guarantee it. Did you buy your Chinese-made Bible, and did China pay tariffs or you paid? How much you paid? What the fuck kind of question is that? Because inflation is way higher. That's right. The old saying is figures never lie, but liars always figure. And this is absolutely proof. Let's do this. Let's go to one of my favorite websites. Boom, nationaldebtclock.org. And by the way, you can all go there. It's nationaldebtclock.org. O-R-G. And if you go there, you can just kind of peruse and pick and choose through these as you like. They are absolutely stunning. Let's see. The car payments will be in here now. I'm guessing. Average new car now, 49,000. 20 years ago, it was 22,000. So it's more than doubled. Median home price, 2,000, 167,000. Median home price now, 402. Median income, 32,000 in 2000. Median income now, 39,000. Do you see the problem there? Do you see what the problem is? Everything's doubling or tripling over the last 20 years, except our income's gone up by what, 11%? Are you fucking kidding me? Are you kidding me? What? Our income's gone up by 11%. College tuition's gone up by 100%. Everything's gone up by at least 100%. That's absolutely nuts. No, it's not capitalism, you communist idiot. Look, if you want to be a Soviet socialist, great. But here's the problem. In the Soviet Union, the guys who drove ZIL limousines were supposed to be 100% equal with the people who stood in bread lines for 12 hours a day. How is that possible? How can everyone be equal when the party members drive around in the back of a limousine? It doesn't work, period. So stop with your nonsense about, oh, it's capitalism. Okay, look at the countries who went communist and kicked all the capitalists out. Wherever those capitalists went, those countries flourished. And the countries that decided to become communist, like North Korea, have collapsed internally. That's why North Korea is blowing up roads right now, because they're trying to get attention, because nobody's paid attention to them for the last year or so, and they're throwing a temper tantrum. Well, end-stage capitalism is not good. Free markets are great, but when it comes to end-stage capitalism, where all the rich keep getting richer and richer and richer, yeah, that's not good. But let's look at the real numbers, shall we? 35 trillion in debt, my ass. What's an unfunded liability? It's your debt. If you have an unfunded liability, it's a car payment. I'll give you an example. Trump loves Russia. I love Russia. What's not to love about Russia? What's not to love about Ukraine? What's not to love about Israel? What's not to love about Saudi Arabia? It's the governments. The governments. That's the problem. And not all of the governments. I've listened to hundreds of hours of Putin's speeches because I thought, this guy's the enemy. I should understand him. And guess what? After enough time, you start to go, damn, this guy makes a lot of sense. This doesn't sound like a communist dictator. He doesn't sound like Mao Zedong. Well, it's a funny thing. He's not. And what he said from 2014 until 2022 was, you have to stop killing ethnic Russians in Ukraine. You have to stop this. Somebody has to stop in. Ignorance on display. Traitor? How can you say I'm a traitor? We're not at war with Russia. That's interesting, Arturo. You are clearly not a very educated man. Unbelievable. Marines against Trump. Yeah, 3 of them maybe. You want to talk about a small minority. United States Marines who don't like Trump? Yeah, that's a small minority. Because the reality is this. Marines don't like killing people unless they have to. And Trump is the only anti-war candidate for the last 30 years. Everybody else has led us straight into one after another conflicts. Now, I will say Obama was pretty clever about his. He just used drones to kill everybody. And about 80% of those drone strikes turned out to be against civilians on accident because, hey, when you're 25,000 feet up and you're guessing that room full of people might be insurgents and you blow them up and find out it was a wedding party, well, whatever. Really? You don't think that Marines would want Donald Trump to be president? You don't think that Marines are basically conservatives? You don't think the Marines who have been to war are not looking forward to going over and dying for Israel or putting boots on the ground in Ukraine? That seems odd. That seems very odd to me. I don't know how you can lawyer your way around the fact that Marines who have been in combat don't necessarily want to go back to combat unless they have to. That's funny that you say that Marines are the dumbest, considering they have to have the highest ASVAB scores. Nobody ever accused Marines of being bright. Okay, well, I think J.D. Vance is a pretty sharp cat, but, maybe I'm wrong. Let's see. Was a weak commander-in-chief, doesn't care about the U.S. military. Wow. Did you have to go to war? We never have to go to war. Hey, Bully, they censored your comment. Trump isn't conservative. Oh, my God. Look at the unions who voted Democrat are now neutral. Oh, that's true. They censored that comment, by the way, Bully. They decided that they didn't want you to say that. So, but if you say it again, they'll let it slide. It's they tell you right at the beginning of these live streams that they're going to censor some of that. I don't know. We got a lot of weirdo liberals, and I don't know where they're coming from. But hey, you know what? I just as soon do a live stream with nothing but liberals, and the reason is somebody's got to try and talk sense into their heads. I mean, look, I get it. I totally get it. If you don't like Trump, that's fine. But when you look at what Kamala Harris is suggesting, when she says something like price fixing, which they did in the Soviet Union, which led to a huge black market and insanely high prices on necessities, it's never worked. 41 different countries have tried it, and it never worked once. So, well, that's not true. It did work once. It worked when Hitler had his brown shirts bring all the heads of industry from Germany into a huge beer hall for a conference. And he barred the doors and told all of the heads of all of the major companies in Germany that if you raise prices by one single Deutschmark as of tonight, I will have you publicly executed. And that was it. Nobody raised their prices after that. But that's kind of hard to do in a democracy. So we don't have that option. So you can't have price fixing. It doesn't work. They don't have to get up in the morning like I do. Bo Hunter says I am a liar. Okay. About what Hitler did? That's part of history. I mean, I've seen that on 10 different documentaries about World War II and the lead up to it, and all the political mistakes that were made going up to it, and how the people of Germany voted for him over and over again, and actually were very excited by the idea of having such a strong leader. Oops. So let's get back to the most important part of this, which is number one, Kamala Harris has to be disqualified from anybody's mind just from the fact that she thinks that freedom of speech, the very first amendment in our Constitution, is not applicable anymore. She said that we have to regulate free speech and that sometimes the privilege has to be taken away. This is absolutely incorrect. I mean, if you can't understand the First Amendment, how are you going to understand the 14th or the 12th or the 25th or any of the others? You don't understand that the right of free speech is a God-given right. Going back to the 1300s, I mean, this is not new stuff here, guys. You have the God-given right to speak your mind in this country. And she's saying, no, it has to be regulated. How can you vote for that person for president? Forget all the stupid ideas that she's had about the economy. Forget about the fact that she literally copied Donald Trump, which is hysterical to me. She voted to tax tips. She was the tie-breaking vote as in Senate. And then because Donald Trump came out and said no tax on tips and was just raked over the coals for it, My God, that's going to cost the economy hundreds of millions of dollars a year in tax revenue. 2 weeks later, she came out and said no tax on tips. And they were like, my God, do you have any idea how much that'll spur growth in the economy? What? Am I living in like an alternative universe here? That's nuts. So we weren't a country in the 13th century. Oh my God. Oh. Please, Jesus, give me strength to deal with these people. Sometimes I just, okay, so what happened? What happened in the 13th century that gave everyone the right to self-determination and that said nobody could own you? Anybody? Anybody? Bueller? Bueller? Thank you. Username too long to say out loud. The Magna Carta was signed. The Magna Carta said that you couldn't be imprisoned without being charged with something. It said that no other human being could own you, that you had the right to self-determination under God, and that you owned your own body and soul. No one else could own it. That's what the Magna Carta said in the 13th century. For somebody who studies early American history and early American coins and is a numismatist, I'm aware of when the United States started. Okay. I know that it wasn't 1776. That's when we signed the Declaration of Independence. But in 1889, we started working on the Constitution. In 1792, we actually came out with our very first coin, which was a half dime. The reason it wasn't called a nickel is because a nickel is a 5-cent piece made of nickel. A half dime is a 5-cent piece made out of silver. By the way, those half dimes, there's about 180 of them left in existence out of about 1,800 that were made. And they were made from George Washington's personal sterling silverware because we didn't have any silver to use in the mint. Wow, Bowhunter, you just got censored again, man. That comment didn't show up. I don't know why. You've never seen a half dime. They are amazing. It did nothing for self-determination of the most. Oh, well, then I guess it just doesn't count at all. Do you have a half dime in possession? No, I've only had one half dime, and I only had it for one day. And I made an enormous amount of money on it, and I wish I still had it. If I still had it, I would have an enormous amount of money. It depends on what it is, like the condition that it's in, but you can guess between $1 and $2 million for a really nice one. Never heard of them. It's the very first coin ever minted in the United States, and they're small. They're not exactly gorgeous, but they are awesome. I mean, it's a cornerstone of our entire financial industry. Well, that's when we decided that we were going to stop using Spanish coins and French coins and British coins, and we were actually going to make our own. The one I sold for $2.5 million. Austin, how are you, buddy? Told you I have a half dime from 1841. If it's in good condition, it's probably very, very, very expensive. What are the years of the half dime? I don't know when they stopped making it. Obviously, I know when they started, but my specialty was really 1792 to 1800. Those are the coins, and the reason I love them so much. Where was I on January 6th? I was actually sitting on Trump's lap. We were talking about some stuff. Oh, somebody got censored. Trump was and is going to be a great president. Yep, they censored that. Boy, did they censor the hell out of that one. I can tell because it's got a little eye with a line through it. It means I can see your comment, nobody else can. However, because I want to read everybody's, even if you're talking shit about me, I'm still going to read it out loud. So you can say Trump all day. I believe it were you guys down in the basement. I believe it were you guys down in the basement. Some interesting syntax there, big boy. GW did give his people in slavery a silver dollar for their tooth. Oh, because he wanted to use their teeth for dentures? Now, I'm just guessing, but it's the only thing I can think of. What happened to corn-fed? I'm right here. January 6th is just a joke. Oh no, I wouldn't call it an insurrection. I'd call it in Marine Corps terms, we would call that a clusterfuck. It was in most parts of what went on, grammatically speaking, it would be considered a kerfuffle. There were a few points of contact that got really ugly, and other than that, it was just a mess. But an insurrection, a planned and sort of organized insurrection, the only people who seemed to be organized that day were the FBI. They were very organized, highly organized. That's why we don't have any of the accounts of what really happened that day. We don't have any of the investigative materials yet. It's only been 3.5 years, but we don't have any of that stuff yet. And it's because it's an ongoing investigation, so they can't comment on it. But they hope to have it by, hold your breath, after the election next year. They've never caught the pipe bomber because they've never really said what the pipe bomb was. Was it actually operational? Have you seen how big he is? You would know if he was missing. Yeah, well, you'd know if I was missing. That's a fact. Let's see. Crazy. They don't turn over how many feds undercover. No, they won't talk about that because it's an ongoing investigation. Turn over the info. Well, that'd be nice. That'd be nice. I'd like to know what's going on with the attempted assassination of Trump. How to shooter who had a drone in the air, by the way, which is completely and utterly illegal. And should have made everybody stand up and notice. But how did he walk around on the roof for dozens of minutes? Fake attempt. Oh my God, bow hunter, you are so out there. I didn't know there were bow hunters that were so soy boy, macrobiotic tofu chili. You must be from Denver. What's happening, RJ? Swept that under the rug. Well, they're trying to. Chevron deference was way overdue, and it may actually save our country. What the hell happened to over DC? Oh, with all the drones, nobody knows. They flew over the CIA headquarters. They flew out over the SEAL headquarters in Virginia. Nobody's sure what the fuck that was about, but I'm guessing there are a lot of people that are probably being called on the carpet over the next couple days over that. I was guessing San Fran bow hunter. Oh, it's not B-O-W hunter. It's B-E-A-U. He's hunting for a lover. Okay. He's a lover hunter. I got it. It was Putin on the drones. Putin was actually flying one of those drones. Never happened. Wait. In California, the roofs are too hot. No shit. Let's see some asshole run around on a rooftop in Phoenix in the summertime. He would literally, if they shot him, he'd just turn to dust because he'd already be, basically charcoal in 20 minutes. By the way, these guys who do HVAC, I talked to a kid who was first year HVAC. He got up on my roof to fix my air conditioning a few years ago. And, they charged me $1,000 for about 20 minutes worth of work. And I said, you make good money? And he said, well, yeah, this is my second year. I'll make about 150. And I said, well, what do you do in the wintertime? He said, not much. I said, so you work about 5-6 months a year? And he said, yeah, about that. And I said, you make 150. And he goes, yep. People have really underestimated the trades these days. And I thought, wow. Yeah, well, it's not a mad Marxist movement. It's just a Marxist movement. And again, people who want power want fucking power. People who just want to live their lives don't want to be bothered with this shit. But the problem is you have to be bothered by it. Because someday, if you just ignore it, someone will come and knock on your door and say, we have this piece of paper which gives us the right to take away your guns. There was a thing that this was 3-4 years ago, that if you're stocking more than 90 days supply of food in your home, you are on the potential domestic terrorism watch list. Now, that didn't bother me because A, I don't give a fuck. But number two, this tattoo, which right here is a coiled rattlesnake, Eastern Diamondback rattlesnake, and it says, "Don't tread on me." That's the Gadsden flag. Well, that was considered by the British to be sedition. And according to the FBI, that puts me automatically on the potential domestic terrorism watch list. Automatically. If you have that bumper sticker, it puts you automatically on the watch list. If you have a Spartan helmet, if you have the Betsy Ross flag, if you have a flag of the Alamo, if you have one of those flags that says "come and take it" in Latin, all of those things put you on the potentially violent domestic terrorist watch list, period. And when you say, "Oh, that's impossible, it can't be that crazy," no, it is. I watched as Senator Ted Cruz grilled the FBI director over it. See, Bo Hunter, you cannot be helped, big man, because I'm telling you right now, I watched it. You can go look it up, but you won't, because you are stuck in whatever kind of reality you're in. So goodbye. Can't help guys like that. I wish I could. I really do. I really wish I could get through to idiots like that. But, he doesn't want to know what the truth is. He just wants to keep singing the same tune over and over. Well, if you can't get to somebody with facts, what do you do? Like, if truth doesn't work on someone because of their ideology, there's nothing you can do about it, And unfortunately, that used to be how wars got started, was over religions, where, my God said this and your God said that, so now we have to kill each other. Whoa, talk about caveman technology. He was a DARPA bot. It's possible. I mean, some of the AI does actually work. Obviously not the censorship on this platform, because they're censoring things like, "Hey, Big and Corn said, how are you?" Censored. Well, that's the problem. It's not that I hate Kamala Harris. I don't even fucking know her, but she's not qualified. It's just that obvious. It's obvious to me that she's not qualified, because the things that she said were silly. And here's the problem. If somebody like me, who is self-educated, okay, I dropped out of high school to join the Marine Corps. When I got out of the Marine Corps, I bounced around from job to job trying to figure out what I wanted to be. And then I decided I wanted to be rich. So I became a stockbroker, and I worked my ass off. And I worked my way through all the schooling in order to become a Series 7 licensed member of the Securities and Exchange Commission, somebody who could be part of the National Association of Securities Dealers. I got all my licensing. And then I realized that the people on Wall Street are fucking disgusting human beings. These financial advisors, they're disgusting. So I didn't want anything to do with them. So I decided that I was going to literally eat top ramen and just survive until I could figure out how the system really works. And I figured, as smart as I am, it's only going to take a few months. 8 years later, after reading thousands and thousands and thousands of documents about econ and watching thousands of hours of videos from everybody on the left, everybody on the right, everybody in between, some of the greatest scholars in history, reading things about transitory wealth and self-liquidating debt and all of these things. And it's just like having dreams where people are paying me in percentages instead of in actual money, because it's what I did all the time. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. And so finally, by about 2006, when I had also become a licensed real estate agent in the state of Arizona, which was like the third time I passed an FBI background check, I got it. I finally got it. And I realized, holy shit, this is all going to fall apart very, very quickly. And literally the people that I worked with and the friends of mine that were in the real estate market said, dude, you're an idiot. No offense, man, but you are really fucking up here, because the reality is Alan Greenspan's a genius. We've never had anyone like him before. And we call this the silly putty economy, because it just keeps getting spread out, spread out, spread out, and it just keeps expanding. Like, it's never going to collapse. It's never going to contract. And I said, no, that's not how it works, guys. Nobody believed me. And at the end of 2006, when I walked away from a house that I actually put earnest money down on, and I told him, keep the earnest money. I can't do this. Semper Fi, brother. I walked away from a house. My real estate broker said, dude, what are you fucking doing? Are you crazy? And I said, I'm out, man. This market's over. And man, was he was pissed, but he was also disappointed. And so the real estate market started going down, and went down from that point on until 2012. That's 6 years of decline. And I pegged it. I got out of real estate at literally the last month it went up. December of 2006, I walked away. Is that a coincidence? Maybe. But then I started calling people in August of 2008 and saying, you better get out of the market. If you don't get out of the market, at least buy some puts, OEX, XMI, major market puts, just to protect yourself. They all said, dude, you were right about the real estate market. It's calmed down a little bit. At that point, it was still calming down. It wasn't crashing. You're right about the real estate market. It's calming down a bit. But timing the stock market, timing equities is a whole other beast. And nobody does that. And I said, well, it's going to collapse before the election. Well, guess what? September 15th of 2008, it collapsed really badly. And everybody called me and said, all right. That's not luck anymore. How did you know? And I said, well, I didn't know it was going to happen today. And they said, really? This is your first day in the silver business, isn't it? And I said, well, yeah, I just opened my company as of this morning. And they said, so you did know? And I said, no, I knew it was going to be before November. I just didn't know it would be today. But yeah, it's good timing, even if it's accidental. So since then, I haven't made a lot of cold calls, you can imagine, because some of the people I called were very, very well. And when I say very wealthy, I don't mean, $3 million. No, they had billions of dollars. So my point is that I know what's going on. I see what's going on. And the reality is, if you look at Trump and you look at Harris, neither one is a great option, because neither one of them represents what everybody thinks they do. Trump's not truly a Republican. He's going to spend more money than any Republican ever should. And Kamala Harris is not a Democrat. She's a chameleon, and she's a liar, cheat, and thief. Okay, so which one would I rather have? A guy who's unpredictable because nobody really knows what the fuck party he's in, but he does seem to be a nationalist. Okay, I'm good with that. I'm good with a little nationalism. I'm okay with a little America first right now. And I know that that's true because he's already been the president. So do you want somebody who you have no idea what their qualifications are, other than they've come up with 3 policies in the last 6 months, which were absolutely horrifically stupid, just idiotic, right to the core? Did the loans they gave out cause part of the problem? Who gave out? That's the question. In exchange for gold, can they yank it off the gold standard? Well, unfortunately, the BRICS is about to go back to a gold standard, and whoever goes to a gold standard first will destroy the American dollar. Our American dollar is backed with nothing. If somebody actually has the balls to go to a currency that's backed by gold and silver, every other country in the world will want that currency, will want their debt, because it's going to be the most solid, safest investment on the planet Earth if they back it with gold and silver. How do you compete with that? You can't. So it will collapse the American economy if we don't do it first. Yeah, an election would be nice where we actually get to pick 2 of the brightest people in the country, 2 of the most hardcore of their type. Look, I used to think Bernie Sanders was awesome just because he was so liberal and so out loud about it that even though I disagreed with his policies, a lot of them, I just love the fact that I could trust him. If he said it, I really believed him. Now that he's proven to be a complete coward, and after everybody in the Democratic Party has kicked him in the ass and made him step aside, I don't have any respect for him. But do I think he's a liar? I don't think he's a liar, no. But do I think that he has no spine? Yeah, obviously he's got no spine. He let Hillary Clinton just walk all over him. I mean, that was absolutely an ambush that killed him. Will America confiscate and gold again? No, I don't believe they will. There's much better stuff to confiscate. I love Ron Paul. Ron Paul is somebody that you can trust. Ron Paul is obviously what I would call a semi-nationalist. He wants America first, but he also understands it's a global community and we have to be in it. But we have to be in it with the intention of making sure that we protect our people, not our corporations, because our corporations are all multinational now. Halliburton, I mean, think about it. Halliburton. This is a huge corporation. It's the oil field company. This is the company that built the great American oil industry. Most of you don't know this. Halliburton's headquarters are in Houston. They're not an American corporation anymore. They haven't been for 10 years. They moved their corporation to UAE, United Arab Emirates. They're not American. So all of that American money that goes into that corporation goes straight out of the country. Apple, look at all of them. They all do the same thing now. These are multinational corporations that exist within the United States. Now, when Reagan said trickle-down economics, and Bush Sr. called it voodoo economics, it was still, in a sense, it was a pretty idea. The idea that the rich spend all their money here in the United States, and all these big corporations make tons of money. They pay their employees more. Their employees go out and buy RVs and boats and big houses and don't mind paying the gardener an extra $50 a month and the pool guy an extra $25 a month. And all those guys, they go out and they spend that money taking their wives and their kids to dinner at McDonald's. And holy shit, it just all flows throughout the entire economy. This is fucking great. There's only one problem with that. If it's a multinational corporation, the money goes from taxpayers up to the corporations and out of the fucking country. How does that help recirculate the money? It doesn't. It doesn't at all. That's the problem. When you get rid of all of your manufacturing and you manufacture in other countries, yeah, these corporations still make these enormous and godly profits, but then they don't share it with us. Well, we're the ones who gave them the profits. Shouldn't that trickle down to us? No, it doesn't. And it even didn't in the 80s. It was a great idea. In the 60s, it would have, because the idea of buying something made in Japan, I remember when I was in elementary school, I had a radio, a little transistor radio that was made in Japan. And I turned it on one day to show my buddies at school. It was like, you're not allowed cell phones now. Well, we weren't allowed to have transistor radios, and most kids couldn't afford one. I got lucky. My dad could. So I had one. And I turned it on and I couldn't tune in something. I was trying to get one of the stations. One of the guys goes, "What, was that made in Japan? It's a piece of junk." Because made in Japan was an insult. It was an insult to say made in Japan in the early 70s. And by the late 70s, Detroit was getting their ass handed to them by Japan. I remember in the 80s, if you walked into a doctor's office and you saw the name Patel on the nameplate, you're like, oh shit, no, I'm not staying here. You ran for your life. Oh my God, Indian doctors, are you kidding me? No. I am not going to let them kill me. Well, guess what? Some of the best doctors on earth now are Indian doctors. What happened? Well, we gave it away. Now, a lot of those really amazing Indian doctors are in the United States. They're immigrants. The best Americans among us are immigrants. And why is that? Because they come from shitty countries. They come over here and they bust their ass to become citizens. And once they become citizens, they are more American than any other American because they had to earn it. I just got born in the right place at the right time to the right parents. They had to earn it. So it's a completely different philosophy. Now, the people who are coming here now, well, I don't know. You don't know. We don't know. How'd they earn it? They didn't earn it. How are they going to become citizens? Well, they're not going to go through a background check because we don't know who they are. We just know the name they gave us. They have no papers. They have nothing. They didn't come here legally. But they're seeking asylum, which means they get fast-tracked. Yeah, asylum seekers get fast-tracked for citizenship. He loves you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Sounds like the criteria in Australia. Well, yeah. I mean, here's the thing. Western nations are doing something that is clearly self-detrimental. We are literally committing suicide governmentally. No contractors will hire them for cheap labor. What are you talking about? No. Those days are long gone, my friend. It's not some schmuck general contractor who's building a barn for somebody. It's Fortune 500 companies who get tax credits for hiring them. Oh yeah, pay them less, get tax credits for it. And why can you pay them less and they can still survive? Well, because they're getting money directly from the government. $65 billion is what we spent last year. We spent more money on illegal immigrants and making sure that they had lots of money on their debit cards and had cell phones than we spent on the United States Marine Corps in total. Let's see. Boss Roofing only hires illegals. Well, I see why they censored that comment, because you got to kind of prove that sort of thing. Kansas farmers. Let's see. Yeah, it is sad. Well, that's the thing. I mean, Mexicans have been doing that for generations now. 8 guys will come over here and they'll get an apartment, a 1-bedroom apartment. And you know what that's called? Sacrifice. That's called sacrifice. And why do they do that? Was it because they love the smell of their roommate's socks? No. It's because they understand that they need to live way below their means so that they can then save up enough money to buy a house and buy an excavator for themselves. Used, shitty, one that they have to fucking fix every 3 days. But that's okay, because they can still show up on the job site and still do the work and still get paid and buy a better one. And the reason I know that is because I know someone who's a good friend of mine. And Oscar did exactly that. He came over here legally. He worked his ass off. And after he worked his ass off for 10 years, he finally bought his first earth mover. And now he's in the earth moving business. And I helped him buy some big ass trucks, some earth moving trucks, so that he could do bigger jobs on bigger government job sites. And the guy is kicking ass. And he's got a beautiful young wife. He's got 3 beautiful kids. And I believe he might have just had another one. He's living the American dream. And he did it the right way. And I'm super proud of him. And by the way, he is so anti-illegal immigration. Because he came here legally. He earned it. He did it the right way. That's what a lot of people don't realize. There's a lot of Mexicans out there that may not like Trump, but they're going to vote for him anyway. Because by God, they had to do it the right way. And they're pissed that other people get to walk in and just take their position. If you earned it and somebody else was just given, it was just given to them for no other reason than you want to gerrymander the voting in a swing state, what the hell is that? That's not pretty. So that's where we're at. Learn more about U.S. elections. Oh my gosh, that popped up on here. That's amazing. Can you guys see that too? Do you see that thing at the bottom of my screen that says learn more about U.S. elections? I'm not sure that that's going to be propaganda, but I can guess it might be. It's probably going to show you where you can register to vote for Kamala. Big Brother's listening always. Big Brother's always listening. That's the interesting thing. There's no way these illegals aren't. I missed it. Aren't raising rent and home prices, competing with citizens. I'm sure that's probably true. Oh, I missed one. No, let's see. St. Mark, you got censored. But I see Israel engaged in combat ops in Lebanon and Ukraine getting smoked by Russia. No, that's why they censored it. We're not allowed to say that, by the way. My stomach growls, and I get when I get an ad for McDonald's. That's funny. Well, you are well trained then. You're an American. Nice bookshelf. Thank you. It's kind of a combination of stuff back there. It's some really boring econ stuff and some that's awesome. Took 2 more major cities. Yeah, I got a funny feeling that when you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. And Ukraine has just pushed Russia a little too far here. By invading Russia, they really kind of gave up the initiative. They lost the initiative. And the reason is, when you're playing poor me, we need more weapons because this big country invaded us, and we would never do anything like that. All of a sudden, you turn around and invade their country for what? Just because? Where is your eagle? That's funny. When's the dollar going to crash? Well, it's slow motion, but it's already started. It's just going to get worse. Here's my eagle. I'm going to put it right behind my head, and I'm going to hang it from the ceiling so it can just sway gently, like it's coming in to land on my shoulder. Like that. Maybe I should do my oh wait, that's its tail. Hold on. Ow, fuck, those claws are sharp. There we go. Yeah, I like it. So, when you want to know whether or not I'm a patriot, ask a bald eagle, and he'll tell you, I fucking love this guy. Maybe I should do my live streams like this. Make a stand for him where he can just look like he's on my shoulder. It's true. You got censored. Since Israel's Iron Dome does not work, this would be an excellent chance to eliminate it by Iran. No? Well, yes and no. The problem, of course, is that if you down boy, calm down. Ow, fucker! He bit me? Yeah, you can't do that. Iran is not going to end Israel by itself. Inflation spread, you do. Inflation spread, you do. You would get more viewers. Absolutely. People would be like, what the hell? Does that guy have a fucking eagle on his? Yes, I do. Technically, it is an eagle. It's not real. It's not alive, but it's an eagle. Corn-fed eagle. That's right. He's a vegetarian. He's corn-fed. Here's the thing. I'm going to take him off my shoulder because those talons are actually, as you can see, actually feels pretty good. Okay, enough. Me being silly. Yeah, it's funny because I don't think a lot of economists act like idiots, but I really don't have any choice, so I just roll with it. That's it's the 2 different sides of pig and corn-fed. So what were we talking about? Iran should not attack Israel right now. They probably could, but they shouldn't. And the reason I say that is because they've shown some pretty epic restraint so far. And I think it's because they understand what happens next. And I'm not necessarily sure that we win, whatever that means to you. If we go into the Middle East and we try, I know that if we get involved in attacking Iran, the price of oil could be $150 a barrel. tomorrow, and that at that price, we can't uncap our wells and we can't do research and exploration fast enough to overcome what that would do to our economy. Now, we're already facing massive inflation. The number one expense input to any business is labor. Number two is energy. If energy goes up by 100% overnight, then this economy is screwed. Look what just happened to Germany. They are officially now, according to themselves, in a recession. And it's because of energy, period. It's only because of their energy costs skyrocketing that they've gone into a recession. Steel mills are closing. Porsche has announced that they're going to leave Germany and they're going to come to the United States to manufacture cars. What the fuck? Are you kidding me? Porsche? That's a huge blow to the German ego right there. The largest employer in Germany is Volkswagen with 300,000 employees, and they're talking about massive layoffs. So Xi and Putin told the West to knock it off. Xi and Putin don't really tell the West to do anything, unfortunately. If they did, we'd stop sending money to Ukraine. Oil is not that plentiful. Well, I can tell you this. If you shut off the Strait of Hormuz, it's a lot less plentiful than it was yesterday. Let's see, would be tragic after Saudi Arabia accepting other countries' money for petrol. Yeah, well, those other countries wouldn't get petrol either. Nobody would get it. Trump said he will cut the cost of energy in half. It's totally doable. Deutschland went green and it backfired. That's part of the problem. They went green and the Nord Stream pipeline. That was by far their best source of cheap energy. And it was very stable. And we blew it up. And now they are going into recession. I can't believe that they're not angrier at us about that, since everybody knows who did it. You can't even get a gas-powered lawnmower. Well, see, I don't even know what to say, man. I was born and raised in California, and I'm so glad I left 25 years ago. I can't even tell you. Exxon is going 100 miles per hour in Guyana, trying to get the U.S. government. Yeah, I could see why. We are extraordinarily vulnerable. And by the way, all those Navy ships from Russia that stopped in Cuba and stopped in Venezuela, do you think they left anything behind? Fastest way to end a war is to cut off everybody's oil supply. We all know that. And Guyana is still across the ocean from the United States. Wouldn't Saudi Arabia just price gouge due to demand? Of course, absolutely. I wouldn't be surprised if Exxon and Standard, hell, Royal Dutch Shell might even be, for all I know, BP probably owned by MI6. These companies, it's amazing how interconnected and incestuous this industrial complex has become. Oh, BRICS is going to do a number on us. No, I know, that's my point, is it's next to Venezuela. And Guyana, if it's got oil, Venezuela just got a visit from Putin. Do you think he left any, something crazy like anti-ship missiles behind? Is live streaming now, says shortage of silver in 2025. There's a potential for that, yeah. And it depends on who gets elected, really. The fear factor's already there. I'm already seeing the premiums going up at a wholesale level, and I'm seeing the demand going up by 700-800 fold around the country and around the world. People in China are paying $10 over spot price now for silver. That's unheard of. Even the people who buy on fucking late night TV shopping networks don't pay that much. No, I know BP is British Petroleum. That's why I said MI6, because they're definitely suspect. Yeah, no problem. And by the way, you can buy silver from me, as you probably already know. So late delivery for silver. Yeah, all of the places I'm going to, all of my biggest sources like APMEX are saying, oh yeah, we'll get it to you in a month. A month? It used to be it ships today. Like, you buy it ships. Not anymore. So Shell was bought by UK. Oh, Royal Dutch Shell is not Royal Dutch Shell now, huh? Okay. Yeah, and by the way, my prices are better than AppMex and SD Bullion and JM Bullion, all those guys, because I'm a wholesaler for them. So you're going to pay retail through them, or you're going to pay wholesale through me, because I don't have the same overhead they do. You know, they have an enormous amount of overhead. Their retail operations are really expensive. You don't have 50 to 100 people on the phones pounding all day long without paying them some pretty hefty commissions. So, what are you going to buy when there is no electricity? Food. That's all I need. I don't even really need to buy food. I live in a place where there's lots of food running around. Wasn't BP responsible for that huge oil spill? Yes. Yes, they paid out virtually nothing for that. Barter is going to become popular. Yeah, that's why I also tell people, look, buy silver, buy flasks of whiskey, not the little stupid airline ones, but the flasks that are, a pint. Buy as many of those as you can afford. And also, if you can, if you don't have like a moral problem with it, buy lots and lots and lots and lots of tobacco. Because tobacco, when it's stored in a dry, cool place, will last quite a long time. And believe me, people will give their right fucking arm for a smoke after 6 months of stress if the electricity goes out. Those few people that are left will do anything to get a hold of some tobacco and a good bourbon. It's just, like, those are the things that really, coffee and vapes, yeah, that works too. Absolutely. Actually, I should have mentioned that too. For those of you who are caffeine connoisseurs like myself, which means I never go to Starbucks because it's shit. But for people who love coffee, woo, if you've ever gone 2 days without coffee, you know what a migraine feels like. Energy drinks would probably be good because they're full of chemicals and they last forever. It's kind of like my Spam back here, or my Twinkies. But my Spam, oh yeah, that's gonna last still. Let's see, when is the good till date on this? Oh, well, what a shocker there. Best if used by June of 2024. Well, I'm a little disappointed. I would have thought all the sodium nitrate in here would help, but apparently it doesn't. You know what? I'm going to have to eat this. I'm going to do it for you guys, but I'm going to wait until it expires. One of my videos on YouTube, for those of you who are on YouTube, who's with me live streaming? Hey, I got people on here. Let's see. You're right about Putin. He's actually a really good leader for the Russian people. Yeah, he puts Russia first. He must be from Denver. Look, I get it. Californians are tree huggers, and people from Colorado used to be tree thuggers. They were tough. They were, they loved their trees. They loved their environment, but they'd kick your ass if you dropped a cigarette butt on the street. Now they'll just chastise you if you misgender them. I mean, it's just, I don't know what happened to Denver. Pretty much all of Colorado, but there are still some parts. I think that Durango is still sort of, normal. 18 days without power and water. My entire community did. So you know exactly what I'm talking about. Nitrates cause gout. Vitamin C packets, not a bad idea. So yeah, you know what it's like to live without food and water, and it is not a good thing. And imagine, and here's the thing, that guy that just commented, or girl that just commented, is better able to address this than anyone else on this live stream, including myself. And that is, what's that like? What's that feel like? Yeah, going to be prepared from now on. But what was that fear like? I mean, you probably had food in your, how does this happen? Well, in this case, it was a hurricane. And it was just a hurricane that, we knew it was going to be a bad hurricane. It's no shit statement. We were like, damn, this could be a Cat 5. Okay, well, we've survived Cat 5s before. As a matter of fact, the last time there was a solar maximum, we had a couple of really nasty hurricanes. But we didn't expect it to do this. We didn't expect it to just head out over North American continent and dump hundreds of trillions of metric tons of water into these valleys and wash away fucking cities. Like nobody saw that one coming. And obviously FEMA least of all. Like if you because apparently they didn't even see it coming after it happened. Like it had already happened, they still didn't see it coming. That's hard to imagine. And I'd love to say that they're just stupid. Harp and CERN, shut up, you guys. Let's not go there. I mean, really, there's not enough tinfoil to cover that subject. Just stay away from processed meat. Oh, we got all kinds of crazy shit going on now. No, I like processed meat. I actually process my own meat. That didn't come out right. I probably shouldn't have even started that sentence. Buy a decent amount of silver. Hell yeah, Shirley. Text me tomorrow and we'll get you some silver. And I'll get you a really good price on this. Make a deal. I'll get you a really, really good price. Hey, Martin, great to see. How are you? Yeah. Okay, look, I don't process my own meat. That's not what I meant. What I meant was, fuck it. Let's move on because that you don't come back from that one. Yeah, damn. Like, I have size 16 feet. So you can imagine what this must feel like when you stick your foot all the fucking way down your own throat. You're not getting out of that one. Yeah, no, that's yeah, you guys do me a favor, remind me of that. Just throw that out there every couple nights. Hey, you still processing your own meat? Just, because any new people will be like, oh, he's a hunter. And then the people who have been here will be like, oh, no, he's not a hunter. He's an idiot. That's not what I heard. It's a bitch being single. That's all I have to say about that. Just had a Forrest Gump moment. What the hell? They literally censored that. You made a oh God face, Squeaky Johnson, and guess what? They censored that. They apparently don't like it when you make this face. That's the face it was. It was this face. Like, what you talking about, Lewis? Yeah, and they censored him. What the fuck? I have some Nikes for sale. 50. No, I can't. 15 won't fit me. What meat grows on lab? What meat grows in a lab? No, not easy being me. Yeah, and Nikes are worse because apparently they were designed by Chinese children, and their feet must be very narrow. Oh my God, Renee, you got censored for saying too small. LOL. They must think you're talking about something else. Now, I know you're talking about Nike shoes. I hope. Do I know you? Let's just let that simmer for a second. How did we get here anyway? I was talking about econ, and now I'm treading lightly over some double entendres that are not so savory, not wide enough. This is where somebody would chime in and say, well, that's what she said. But then they'd get censored for that, and rightly so. It's not an appropriate conversation. Okay. Turning red. Yes. Actually, I can feel that. It feels a little warm in here all of a sudden. You got both ACs going full blast at 68. Yep. Just had to go there. So what have we learned? Let's double back. Let's figure out our takeaways. That's right. We've learned that A, the DOD's lost their marbles. B, one thing I didn't cover that I should cover is that core inflation didn't go down. That's extraordinary considering that the Fed just cut rates, not just 16 wide. Oh, by the way, I want to do a podcast, a big podcast. So if you know somebody who has more money than common sense and wants to sponsor the podcast and be my business partner in a podcast, let me know. I have Randall Carlson coming up. He wants to put me on his podcast, which is great because all of his podcasts together on different media equal about 700,000 followers. So once I do his podcast and a couple of other smaller ones, then my podcast should just explode. And I'm going to do it on YouTube so we actually get paid. And we're going to be talking about things like ancient archaeology, so we won't have to worry about getting banned or demonetized. We'll stay away from that. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. I got a rose. I got roses, plural. I like it. So yeah, anybody who's interested in helping me start that podcast, but what I want to do, I mean, this background, it's neat and all, but the reality is I'm going to need a small studio where I can bring people to the studio, sit them down and interview them. And, you know, I'm going to start, I got lots of buddies in the business who I can start with. Ben Davidson, he's got a YouTube channel with about 700,000 followers, and great guy. And he and I have been buddies for a long time. And he said, please come up here anytime you want, sit down with me. Let's make some videos, you know, etc. Because he knows basically what I do is I take his incredibly complex, super, super scientific stuff and I idiot it down for myself. And so if I can understand it, I can make sure everybody else understands it too. Which is not something he really gives two shits about. He doesn't care if you understand it. He just cares that it's accurate information. And he reads a lot of different university papers that are really dry and written in really insanely technical speak. But then he can translate it down to where I understand it. And then I can tell everybody about it and it'll actually make sense. And that's something he understands is important. Because if you don't understand what's going on, that's bad news. Then there's also my buddy Scott Walter, he did America Unearthed. Scott and I are going to do a few podcasts. He's got some really fun shit coming up. And he would love to have me with him because he's probably the only guy that I know who is as crazy as I am. And by the way, when I say he's crazy, I mentioned to him that I played football in college at 38. And he went, what? That's crazy. And I said, yeah, I know. And he goes, I played football in college at 38. And I said, what? He goes, yeah, I played in college at 38 years old. I went back to school and I just figured, what the hell? I can still do this. And I played and helped win a national championship in my division and got MVP. And I was like, you crazy son of a bitch. What are you thinking? You can't play football at 38. And he started laughing. He goes, well, neither can you. And I said, yeah, I guess we can. And he was like, yeah, you can do anything. And I thought, wow, this guy really is. I mean, talk about thinking outside of the box. Master's degree in geology. He's a forensic geologist. He was called in by the U.S. government after 9/11 to analyze what was left of the Twin Towers, among other things, and had a show, America Unearthed. And he's just a really, really cool guy. And he's also a little nuts, which I think is fantastic. I would love to do some work with him, and then also Gates, Josh Gates. I would love to work with Josh Gates. Expedition Unknown, I think, is his deal. I would love to work with those guys too. But that all starts with one of you crazy people investing in a podcast. That's right. So let me know if you're interested, and if you are, I believe we will make what's it called in Texas? A shitload of money. And I have no problem sharing. Everybody knows that when it comes to money, I love to share with everybody. Because the reality is this: how many yachts can you ski behind? One at a time. So having 12 is something that says to me that you either have an incredibly tiny wiener or you're compensating for something even worse, like a deep, dark fear. So, well, I'm looking for a sponsor, but I'm also looking for a partner. Now, a sponsor, that's easy. Pay me, and I'll talk about your stuff. A partner is a little different because now we're talking about several $1,000s to buy equipment and do everything correctly. A sponsor will get me. a partner will actually get a very large chunk of the revenue from my YouTube channel forever. That's going to be a lot of money. So, and for both of you who are listening on YouTube right now, I know I've got 2 people on my live stream. Got to start somewhere. Love you guys. Love you for being on YouTube. And by the way, for those of you who, did you get censored? No. Okay. I just saw that something was kind of dim, but you didn't get censored yet. Sharing to you is 3 for me and 1 for me. Fire me? All right, you're fired. Royalty. Exactly. Once you switch full to YouTube, I'm sure the numbers will pour in. Absolutely. Well, that's the thing. I'll always do TikTok. I like TikTok, and I'll make TikTok videos and I'll do some live streams, but it'll just be a little different because if they cancel me for a week, who cares? Now I have to be very careful about what I say, so I can only give you guys about 2/3 of the information that I have. There's a lot more going on in the world that I can't talk about. If I even get near those subjects, they literally shut me down for a week every single time. They call it misinformation sometimes they call it hate speech. It's really odd that they call it that, but they basically say, look, you cannot talk about this. So I am on YouTube or Facebook when not on here. Oh, okay. Well, cool. Then you can see my videos on, I just put up another video on YouTube today, actually. Going back to what the guy with the troll at the beginning said about, you're full of crap. Look at his videos. Yeah, I actually posted one from July 15th, 2021. I reposted it on YouTube yesterday or today. And basically what I talk about is hey, look, this is what's going on. This is what they're lying about. And this is what's going to happen. And guess what? That was just a little over 3 years ago. And I was absolutely right. Now, being right is, there are people that are right every day, all the time. But this is different. And the reason I say it's different is because when I was right in my position as just a guy who talks on TikTok, the Federal Reserve chairman was wrong. The Secretary of the Treasury, who has a PhD in economics, was wrong. Does that smell right to you? Does that pass the smell test? That a former jarhead, a grunt, who just happened to study econ on his own, figured out what was going on 3 years before Jay Powell or Janet Yellen? Yeah, Janet Yellen. She got a PhD in economics. And by the way, she was paid by Goldman Sachs $500,000 for a lunchtime speech. The following day, she was paid $500,000 by the same company for another 1-hour speech. Uh-oh. Mark, you got censored. Are you telling me the total truth? Let's see, you are telling the total truth, but you have small hands. I was a broker, Series 7 and 63. I have small hands. What? I don't understand. I was a broker. Yeah, I was a broker, and I have the 7 and 63 as well. I don't know if you're saying you did or I don't understand. Doesn't impress me. Well, then don't buy silver and gold. If I were you, I would go buy PayPal. Lots of PayPal. To the moon with PayPal. Yeah, that's what I would do if I were you, David. David Hoagland. My dad's best friend was named Hoagland. He was a captain in the Air Force and worked at UCLA and the CIA. Water. Good idea. Well, there's not much left. Okay. So buy silver. Call me tomorrow, or text me tomorrow. Buy some silver, and we will talking about Janet Yellen. Oh, that doesn't impress you. I was gonna say, if the fact that I was way ahead of the Federal Reserve and the Treasury doesn't impress you, I don't know what will, but that's okay. Some people are like, yeah, you're still full of shit. Hey, I'm not the only one who saw this coming. I'm sure there were thousands of people across the United States that all saw this coming. Well, good, man. Call me, Mark. And by the way, they didn't censor that comment. Well, what the hell? Who knows how this AI works? I mean, somebody sent me a goofy face and they censored it. So you have it backward. Are you drunk? Because you misspelled the shit out of that. Your spell checker's turned off. You got to turn off your spell check and your cock slap. I mean your caps lock. Yeah, the caps lock too. That's big. Or maybe you've got them on and you're just fighting with them, and whatever comes out is you actually arguing with your phone, and you don't even mean for me to read that. In which case, I'm sorry. You should go play Minecraft. I'm waiting for him to come back and say what actually he was trying to say before, but I misspelled it so badly that I couldn't understand what he was saying. Because I know he had a point. I'm just waiting to see if it was on top of his head or in the comment, and I just misunderstood it. Translator, exactly. I had this idea a long time ago where you could put this thing in your ear and it would translate. I gave up. All right, man, I get it. And there are some nights where shit just doesn't come out right. Where you put this thing in your ear and you talk, and then the person that has the other one in their ear hears what you're saying in their language. And then they talk and you hear it. Well, guess what? That was 4 or 5 years ago. I had this idea. And I thought, man, wouldn't that be great? If you could put headphones on, talk to anybody in the fucking world, and it would automatically translate it. Exactly. They have it now. And I was like, what? It just came out. I know, I saw it, and I was like, oh, man, that's so cool. Fuck, I should have done it. But here's the thing. This is the good news, is that I have so many ideas like that bouncing around in my head that I can't do them all. I don't have time to do them all. And so I just pick the ones I like, and then that's it. Yeah, I literally came up with that idea years ago, along with another one. This one hasn't come out yet. But I ride motorcycles, and I thought, they should have a motorcycle with a heads-up display off to the side that gives you all of your information, miles per hour, destination, all that shit. You can listen, watch, look, read your emails or whatever. Although I think emails might be a little stupid while you're driving. But give you all of the information you need, plus also in the back a camera so that you can look over on the other side and see what's going on behind you without having to look down and take your eyes off the road. You can just look over to the side and then look back, or look down and look up. And I thought, man, that would be awesome. They don't have those yet. And I was asking about that in 2016. I asked if they had goggles, and they were like, well, yeah, we've got goggles, but they're for skiing. And I was like, what? They said, yeah, we've got ski goggles called Zeal. But they only show like your route and like elevation. That's it. And I was like, well, shit, if you can put a heads up display for skiers, you can do it for motorcycles. I mean, skiing is not a lot safer than motorcycling. Go off the trail and hit a tree at 30 miles an hour, and you probably won't wake up. Although I did date a girl who did actually wake up after going off of a Black Diamond run. And Simone was never the same. I didn't know her before, so I didn't know what she was like. But all of her friends told me, yeah, Simone was not like this. Beautiful girl. Even though when I met her, her head was still shaved from the accident. She'd been in a coma for like 2 months. And I met her, and she was very quiet. And from what I understand, she had been very, very outgoing and very social before, but she was very introverted when I met her. Yeah, Sonny Bono, exactly, same thing. Luckily for her, she survived. But I've only known a couple people who were actually in comas, and yeah, they were both very, very much the same, very quiet, very sort of withdrawn. Yeah, it was very interesting because clearly, and one of the guys I worked with was like that. He got in a motorcycle accident. He was in a coma for 6 months, which is unimaginably long. And all he did was work like I've never seen anybody work. George Jorge was his name. He was a painter, and he could paint an entire room standing in the center of the room with a roller and an extension, and he could do it in maybe between 5 and 10 minutes, standing in the middle of the room. He'd roll it, he'd do a wall, he'd come within this far of the ceiling and the floor. Just that fast. And he would roll the entire room probably in 5 minutes. And then he'd turn around, pick up his stuff, and walk into the next room. He did that all day long. And he got home, and I was his roommate for a while. He got home, smoked a bunch of weed, ate, and went to bed. That's all he did. Fall is finally here. Well, yes, if 96 is fall. I'm looking forward to this weekend. It's supposed to rain on Friday, which is before the whole biker crazy shit's going to happen downtown, right next to me. And then on Saturday, it's supposed to be like 75. Man, that is some good weather to ride a motorcycle. I will be on my motorcycle. Well, I'm glad, man. I'm glad I inspired your thought. That's the thing, whatever, like people, people have ideas all the time, crazy ideas, crazy shit that just pops into their head, and they go, it's crazy shit, and they dismiss it. Just do a little homework into your crazy ideas, all of your craziest ideas, because the reality is that some of them are going to be dumb as shit. I think I'm pretty smart. I have some dumb fucking ideas. And as soon as I start doing a little homework into them, I'm like, that wouldn't work. What was I thinking? And that's it. Toss them. But every once in a while, you stumble across something. I'll give you an example. My knife here. Okay. So a basic folding knife. There was a guy who came up with an idea for putting a loop on it, a backwards little loop. That's all it is, just a little loop. But when you pull it out of your pocket, the loop, how does it work? The loop is over on this side. And when you pull it out of your pocket, the loop pulls down on the blade and actually pulls the blade out. So as you're pulling it out of your pocket, click, it's open automatically. Oh my God. This is crazy. I just got a restriction. I just got restricted for showing that. So it flips open and it's just automatic. So if you have one hand and you're doing something and you need to open your knife, you can just pull out of your pocket and cut the rope or whatever. Okay, well, so it's just a loop. He patented the idea and he sold it to Spyderco. And now he makes a royalty on every single knife they put that on. He's rich. He's rich from the idea of putting a loop on the back of a blade. Yeah, that's all. That's all it takes. So that's the key. First responders carry them. Absolutely. All the time. Mine's actually made for diving specifically, but since I'm not a diver, I don't dive. I bought it because it's super lightweight and it's basically indestructible. So, and I do a lot of stuff where, I need to be able to straps on monster boxes. Yeah. You're not supposed to open a monster box, by the way. If you buy 500 American Eagles, they come in a big green container and you're not supposed to open them. But why? Well, because it's worth more if it's still sealed. But you don't get to see them. Yeah, well, it's, if you've seen one, you've seen them all. That's their attitude. Bullshit. When I buy a monster box, I'm opening my monster box. And then I'm going to take out all the little tubes that look just like this. I'm going to pop them open and I'm going to go, yeah. I'm going to go, yeah, look, here's my money. I got money. This is real money. And I'm going to make sure it makes that jingly sound that only silver makes. That's how you know it's silver, because it sounds like silver. And then you're going to go, okay. Yep. All right. There's 20 of them in that one. Okay. Well, I don't need to count them all because they're all the same size. And okay, that's good. And then you put the lid back on and you just lowered the value. But who gives a shit? I'm not selling them. I'm not going to sell mine. Mine are for me. And yours are for you. And if you want to open them, God bless. But you're going to need a good knife like that because those straps are a bitch. The government straps them up tight. When did I go live? I went live about an hour and 40 minutes ago. Yep, I'm going to be going live again tomorrow at the same time. I'm going to be going live as much as I possibly can. Unless I get booted off of here for saying something like, it's hotter in the summer than it is in the winter. They're like, ooh, that's climate misinformation. You're out of here, bro. It's possible. You never know. What bike do I have? Oh, this is from YouTube. What bike do I have? I have an FJR 1300 Yamaha. What did you miss? You want me to start over? Okay, I'll start over. All right, I'm live. So glad you guys are jumping on here with me. Tonight, there are a couple things I want to talk about. I'm not going all the way back for you. Are you out of your fucking mind? That's an hour and 40 minutes of talking. I can't do that. I know. Oh, DOD. Henry's been on here for a while, man. You need a hobby because you've been listening to me for quite a while. That's okay. I like it. Yeah, that's exactly what I did talk about first was the DOD. Because, one of you guys jumped on here last night and you were like, hey, what about that use of lethal force against Americans? And I literally said last night, I was like, come on, what are you talking about? I have a hard time buying that. Do you want to break that? Do you want me to break that bike in for you? Oh, no, it's broken in. Trust me. I got a lot of miles on that bike. I'm about to buy another one, actually. I've been listening to you about an hour and a half now. Okay, so So last night when somebody said, what do you think about this? I was like, I don't buy it. It doesn't sound true. Like there's no truthiness to it, as George H.W. would say. It's true. It's actually true. The DOD just granted themselves the ability to use lethal force against Americans. If the local or state police or federal FBI call them in for a whole multitude of things. And it says if they feel threatened, they are allowed to use force that is up to and including deadly force. Neuralink scares the fuck out of me. I love Elon Musk, man. I love Elon Musk, but that shit scares me. Look, I'm a guy who studies EMPs. Would you like to have a chip in your head that helps you think when an EMP hits? What happens to the Neuralink? Does it go down and then you just got a piece of silicone stuck in your head? I know lots of women that have silicone all over them, and they're fine. They're just fine. Some of them are pretty fine. But that's not the point. If that's all that happens, well, okay, so, hey, you were a genius yesterday and you're just back to being a dipshit. But what if it's more than that? What if it actually connects to your neuro, pathways and your synapse to a point where you can't live without it? And then it goes down. Well, you're dead. Oh, of course you can access your mind. In response to militias in North Carolina, maybe. That could be. If that's what it is, if they're saying that the use of deadly force is authorized against American citizens because of the fact that the Cajun Navy and the Redneck Air Force are down in North Carolina trying to help their own folks survive, that would be a bridge too far. That would be a red line that should have never been crossed, and there will be consequences if that's what they're talking about. Saline won't do that. How do you know, Renee? Speaking from experience or what? Inquiring minds want to know. No, actually, you know what? It's none of my business. Drug shortages at record highs. Okay, that's fun to see. After locking up thousands for weed possession, Kamala Harris patronizes black men in pot pandering scheme. Oh, wow. She's talking about wanting to set up black men in the marijuana business, too. Are you fucking kidding me? It's, it's like it's like a reality show that everybody goes, man, that ain't real. That's what it feels like. FEMA is still paying $9,000 for COVID funerals and billions on pandemic payouts. Uncle Sam is infected by a different strain of long COVID. Yeah, well, that's true. That's fucking funny. Why would this pop up on my feed? I don't know, but it's totally in line with how much I love Mexicans. 73% of Mexicans own a dog. Hell yeah. Of course they do. That is awesome. Okay, let's see. U.S. threatens Israel with arms shipment suspensions over spiraling Gaza situation. Yeah, we keep threatening over and over. Not doing anything, but threatening. Let's see. Questions and outrage after Israel attacks northern Lebanese Christian stronghold. Strikes on the far northern Christian village leave at least 22 dead. Really? Christian stronghold. You got to go blow that up too. 2024 campaign. Too much negativity, not enough policy. 79% of registered voters saying that the race does not make them feel proud of their country. Okay. Let's see. Oh, wow. This is crazy. Okay. Iran's supply of interceptor missiles under strain amid daily assaults. Yeah, you figure. Do I use AI for research? No, I don't, because you can't trust AI yet. It's very political. Yeah, it is terrible what's going on over there, and it needs to stop. It's going to be super cold this year. Wow, it wouldn't surprise me. We go through these radical shifts in climate all the time, and a lot of it has to do with the sun, whether we're going through a solar maximum or a solar minimum. Also, of course, El Nino and La Nina play a role. So we're going to see. But if you remember, when we were kids, there was never such a thing as a polar vortex. We didn't hear that. Let's see. Do I mean that AI is politically biased, or that it can use your research information against you? That it's biased. By the way, they censored that entire comment. I read it because I can still see it, but nobody else saw it. So that's why I read it out loud. Heard it today, actually. Yeah. By the way, for those of you who are interested in what's really going on with the climate, and when I say what's really going on, clearly I have my opinions. Suspicious Observers on YouTube, my buddy Ben's channel. Some of it is very difficult to follow because he's been studying this stuff for a dozen years, and over a dozen years he's gone from explaining it in such a way that you can pretty much understand all of it to, as you can imagine, studying solar science every single day. And when I say every day, I mean for 12 to 14 hours a day. He has now gotten to a point where he only makes sense to theoretical physicists. But some of his stuff is still really good to listen to. They can shut down communication right before the election. That's absolutely true. Let's see. Skipping COVID booster could reduce your IQ. Vax propaganda thrives at LA Times. Could reduce your IQ. What? Founder of the Weather Channel said to Stelt, and he's a scientist. Yes, absolutely. I did see that, by the way. And that was the last time he was on CNN or any channel for that matter. Yeah, you don't talk like that unless you want to get booted off the mainstream media. Let's see. Crude crashes, tech tumbles. Yeah, crude crashes today. Here's the problem. If this war heats up, we could face $150 a barrel oil easily. Our economy's too weak right now. We're heading into, if not already in, a recession that would cripple this country almost overnight. It would lead to extremely bad things. Stagflation odds jump in latest New York Fed survey as inflation expectations rise. Delinquency hits 4-year high. Oh, debt delinquency. Let's see what we got here. Debt delinquency. Yeah, it's skyrocketing. All right, well, that's, debt delinquency is the first part. And then there's the repossessions on cars, which are skyrocketing, going up faster than at any time since 2008. And then on top of that, you've got, all of the other factors like foreclosures on homes, which are also going up for the first time. It was just announced that the market here in Phoenix is definitely worse than expected for real estate. So things are not going well in the economy. I don't care what the liar in chief says. Let's see. FEMA makes hurricanes worse. Yeah, well, I could see if it, in the sense that if you expect the federal government to come and help you and then they never show up, yeah, that would make it worse. Or if they show up and they just say, hey, everybody that's handing out food, get out of here or we'll arrest you. Yeah, that could make it a lot worse because they don't want to be seen as weak. Walgreens jumps most in years after better than expected earnings and widespread store foreclosures or closures, of course. Let's see. Goldman flows guru. The equity market sell-off is canceled. Okay, we'll see about that. Let's see. Trump to expand Border Patrol by 10,000, shower employees with 10% raises and bonuses. I saw him say that. And that makes sense. Look, the border guys are the guys. That's our front line, and pay them well. Pay them well. If you want people to be happy, don't hire 85,000 new IRS agents. Hire 10,000 more border guards. Inflation shock imminent as liquidity tsunami looms. Yeah, we saw that coming 3 years ago. Time Magazine, a very, very liberal magazine. Time Magazine owner blasts Harris for rejecting interview requests. Even Time Magazine is turning against her. Ooh, that hurts. When the lefty rags don't like you, well, you're basically a woman without a country. Let's see, anything else that we need to talk about? Oh my God. Federal Reserve's Kashkari says $3 trillion market cap in Bitcoin still useless. BlackRock's Larry Fink strongly disagrees. What does Larry Fink know? Reluctant bulls are keeping the market in check. Okay. Netanyahu denies substance of WAPU Iran strike report, which sent oil prices sliding. Okay. Wait. Okay, hold on. Which report? The one that he is or he isn't going to hit their oil fields? Did you see the 60 Minutes? Yes. Well, I mean, I didn't see the real one because they chopped it all up. Yeah, things will get spicy, no question. Yeah, they chopped it all up. So we don't know what's the B-roll look like? How many times did they have to ask her the same question? How many times did she say, hold on, stop for a second. All right, cut. What should I say? I mean, literally, she could have done that 30 times, 40 times. She could have stopped every single question and said, hang on, what am I supposed to say? Like, how do you guys want me to answer that? And then her team could have come in and said, well, based on polling, we think that this is probably the best thing for you to say, but keep it upbeat. Oh, okay. And then she tried to say it and fucked it up anyway. Word salad, as usual. The bottom line is, I'm really getting the impression that this woman is not too sharp, and of course, there are women out there who could easily run this country. I am absolutely convinced of that. I've known a few and I've seen others. Tulsi Gabbard, a veteran. I mean, this is a woman who's been around the block. She's been an officer, a command officer. This is a woman who understands leadership, and she's incredibly bright. But they didn't want her anywhere near the White House. When she was a Democrat, the Democrats didn't want her anywhere near the White House. Why is that? What do you think? Why would they not want a strong, powerful leader with all the right credentials? She checks every box. She's a woman. She's a veteran. I mean, she's educated. She's got great personality. Like she can make you laugh. She can make you think. This is a perfect communicator. This is a perfect woman to be the very first president of the United States. Nope. Don't get anywhere near it because she's not a puppet. That's exactly right. Team player. Well, I don't know about that, Andy. She was in the Army. That's a pretty big team. She's not a team player for that team. That's, I think, what you mean. She's just not playing for their team. And that is the problem. If you want to play on that team, you have a very specific set of rules that you have to follow. And look, if lying is part of the deal, then you just fucking do it. There's no qualms about it. You just do what's needed to be done. And if lying is part of it, then do it. Let's see. Russia hands French citizen 3 years in prison for breaking foreign agent law. Oh, mask mandates set to return in several California areas. Now that to me is absolutely stunning. What in the hell are they wearing masks for now? That doesn't make, I got to check it out. We got to look at this article because this makes no sense. Mask mandates will be returning to several counties in San Francisco's, California's San Francisco Bay Area starting next month. The orders, which were handed down by individual counties, apply mainly to healthcare workers, although at least two Bay Area counties have extended the requirement to visitors and patients. So, mandates for people in hospitals? I guess so. All right. It's to reduce the risk of spread of COVID-19, influenza, and other respiratory viruses. What do you do, folks? What can you say? Hide their identity? Maybe. I mean, in California where it's legal to steal, literally legal to steal, who knows what they're doing? There. By the way, there is a bill that's being pushed through right now in the state Senate to recriminalize theft. I know, right? How crazy is that? Like, for 10,000 years of human societies, going all the way back to Göbekli Tepe, stealing was against the law. Being a thief would get you killed or your hands chopped off or something. And then California decided that it wasn't a crime to steal from other people. And look how that worked out for them. I think we should probably stop promoting people from California for a while. Gavin Newsom, Kamala Harris, anybody else that's helped with this completely insane idea. Nobody said they were smart. They just said the weather was beautiful and they've got a coastline that runs for 800 miles. Oh, well, that's too bad. Anyway, all right, guys. Well, I'm going to call it a night. If you're interested in getting silver, definitely text me. Oh, there you go. Shirley, perfect. See that? It's like you read my mind like a little comic strip, which, if you could see my mind, it is a comic strip most of the time. You guys have a great night. See you soon. All right, my YouTubers. Look at you guys. Hey, look at that, Rodney. How are you, buddy? Are you still on here? Yep, looks like you are. It's a long, slow process building up viewers on YouTube. But I think once I do a couple of podcasts where I've got 200,000-300,000 viewers, like on Randall's, this channel will blow up as well. And that's good because TikTok is owned by a bunch of cheap bastards who don't want to pay you at all. Like at all. And so it's nice to come to a platform where even though they demonetize you for saying things they don't like, at least they pay you. And that's nice. So, all right, you guys, I'm going to let you go. Tomorrow we will do another live stream.